why do people find their heart from the right after they've left politics? I mean, look what Jim Bolger's saying today. We'll bring that up while you answer that question. Look what all those GOP members say after they leave once Trump's there. We had an interview with Chester Burrows just a month before he passed away talking about the gang patch ban is just looking for headlines that'll never work. Why? Why do they find their heart after they leave politics?
Well, it's funny because it's not just the right; it happens to the left as well. I mean, remember Helen Clarke wouldn't move on cannabis reform when she was the prime minister. Oh, but then when she got out, and now she's the UN spokesman on drug reform. Now it's a different story. I think power obviously plays a big part of it. You know, if you want to win politics, bashing up beneficiaries, bashing up prisoners, bashing up criminals, that's your golden ticket. And if you look at this, I mean, this crazy new hard right government that's ludicrously about to try and become government. I mean, the only thing they agree on is bashing up beneficiaries, bashing up prisoners, bashing up criminals. It's a party whose counterproductive social policy is based on malice and spite. And they're diametrically opposed on almost everything else. So all we're going to get is a punch and a boot for the most vulnerable and the weakest amongst us for 3 years, which hardly sounds inspirational.
For people, if you want to be caught up to date with the story we're talking about, 2 former prime ministers came out today saying that the treaty referendum would rip us down the middle. Jim Bolger, right-wing National Party Prime Minister, calls it bloody stupid, a total sideshow, no-go and really divisive, trying to rewrite and reinterpret the intentions of a document that was signed formally, legally, correctly 160 to 170 years ago. It is simply unwise, to put it very gently. He goes on to say, trying to rewrite and interpret the intentions of a document that was signed formally. Oh, I said it twice. All right, no, we'll just go on to the next one. It's bloody stupid, he said, if you want to put it accurately. Bolger told Tova O'Brien, he said, Māori are still overrepresented in all the worst statistics. Hearing that coming from a National Party Prime Minister, and in the 1990s, putting those cash registers at emergency departments was one of the reasons to keep Māori in those statistics. And now I'm acknowledging it. Someone in the chat said they find their heart because they know they're about to be judged. Demonstrably, Māori are still on the wrong on the wrong side of history at various times, and these are figures that demonstrate that. It's not complex, it's not a political argument, it's just a statement of fact, and we need to work on that. Bolger puts it more bluntly, I think ACT policy of having a referendum on the treaty is a total sideshow. I mean, if we really want to divide New Zealanders, try a referendum on the treaty. That's a no-go. That's what he said. The left-wing Prime Minister, Helen Clarke, said this.
The prospect of a referendum on the treaty, which is not something that Winston Peters is promulgating, it's more the ACT party. How divisive do you think that would be for New Zealand?
No, I don't think it should even be contemplated. I think it would be incredibly divisive. Referenda are tricky, even when they're straightforward. And this one would just rip us down the middle, I think, as a society. So I don't think New Zealand should go near that.
Akin to foreshore and seabed, or blow that out of the water, do you think? I mean, Willie Jackson was saying recently that it would be like the Springbok tour.
Yeah, no, it would blow it out of the water. It would be more like the Voice referendum in Australia, which went down, sadly, by quite a significant margin. And that then raises the issue of, when can they raise those issues again? So I think New Zealand usually, accepts that it's on a journey with these kinds of issues, and you don't throw a hand grenade like a referendum into the middle of it.
There you go. There's 2 former prime ministers, one from the left, one from the right, basically saying, are you fucking stupid? Basically what they're saying. I'm paraphrasing. I do understand that, but basically what they're saying.
Look, we absolutely need to have a grown-up discussion about our constitutional arrangement. We should have a discussion about where the treaty should go in a formal constitution for New Zealand. We should have a discussion about, should we be a constitutional monarchy? Should we be a republic? We should have a discussion about, do we need an upper chamber of parliament, 50-50 split between Māori and Pākehā, that would review treaty situations and legislation and it would be able to revoke and push a piece of legislation down to the lower house the way the House of Lords does in Britain. We should have those discussions because they are righteous discussions to be had about our national interest. However, having a binary referendum where the majority is going to tell the majority the way shit's going to go down is just it is the stupidest and most intellectually bankrupt way of having that discussion, you know?
Yeah, I look at it, I'm a very simple man, Bomber, you know that. I look at it in a very simple way. Treaty is a contract between two parties, Māori and the Crown. You don't have a third party come on board and say, you now, one of the parties, need to renegotiate the contract. I mean, these are supposed to be the parties of business. And the example I often use is I have a contract with my my bank for my mortgage. My neighbour doesn't come in and tell the bank that I should now renegotiate. I don't know why it's not as simple as that. It's a contractual arrangement between two parties.
The thing that I have always loved about the Treaty of Waitangi is that it immediately states the nature of the relationship between the Crown and its subjects, be they Pākehā, be they Māori. And the relationship is the Crown, the government, stepping forward and saying, it is my obligation and my responsibility as the state to ensure you have agency, sovereignty, and that you have that kind of individual power culturally and politically as well. And it's our responsibility to protect those rights. I love the nature of the relationship it states, that it's our government's responsibility to ensure our agency and our sovereignty is intact and always empowered. And I think off the back of those values, you can build something beautiful and monumental. For me, the treaty is the most important document because it means I can live here. That treaty, right, is my birthright to this country. I can stand on these shores proudly as a Pākehā New Zealander and call this home because that treaty lets me, right? And it's got nothing to fear. The way the idea of Māori independence has been sold as some terrible existential race crisis to us it's just so dumb. We're a smarter people than us. We're a more generous people than us. And I don't think we should allow ACT's weird race baiting nonsense to splinter us in ways that will be truly detrimental.